Hey guys, Matt here, and today I'm going to take a look at two really nice overstable approach discs, the Infinite Disc Ruin. I have a first run C-line here, and the Discraft Z Zone, one of the most popular approach discs on the market. When I first started playing 10 years ago, the overstable approach disc was something that was kind of coming into existence. The Zone was out, and the harp would come out shortly after I started playing, maybe like 2014 I think it came out. But other than things like the Zone, the Tank, the Rhino, which is a little slower, and even like the Wizard, which is not really overstable, you didn't really see a whole lot of overstable discs in people's bag. They would use their AVRs or their Banger GTs or whatever to approach with most of the time. And forehand approach discs were not very popular yet. Now, you don't see hardly any pros play around without a Zone, AVR X3, a harp, A2 from Prodigy, A1 if you're really frisky. Those are really overstable. But Innova held off for a long time making a truly OS approach disc that was faster than like their Rhino or a Pig that Ricky throws a lot. The Ruin is made by Innova, but it's something a little bit different than they had previously. It's got a bottom that I believe is the same one as the Cayman, maybe even the Rat, with a super flat top and a fairly high shoulder that make this really controllable and fairly stable disc. The numbers they give it are 3, 3, 0, 3, a lot of threes, very nice overall. Discraft, as you guys know, use a single number system to denote stability within disc categories. And their original number on the Zone was a +2, which means it's pretty overstable for a slow disc. Now that they have flight numbers, they call it a 4303. So if you give it a look, the profile is really similar to the Ruin, even a little flatter, almost pedal top, but not quite, just perfectly flat. And if you look at them side by side, the wing is a little straighter, whereas the Ruin's very scooped out with a little bead on the bottom, very, very small bead. And the size is not actually that different, it's just more the shape. So I've thrown both of these discs, but I haven't thrown them together. So I'm going to give them a shot on a few different lines tonight, and we can see which one is more worthy a spot in your bag. Let's go take a look. Okay, after a variety of throws of both, I think it's pretty safe to say the Ruin and the Zone are in the same neighborhood disc-wise. On most throws, different types, they were pretty close. So on most of the backhands, the Ruin was a little straighter, whereas the Zone held that straight line for a long time and then faded really hard and pretty late. It generally ended up net more left on the backhands than the Ruin did, but not much shorter. a little more overstable, but probably a little quicker as well. On forehands, when I threw them with hyzer or flat, they both did great. Similar story, the zone would take a little bit more power, and on the hyzer and flat lines, basically held the line and then faded pretty well, whereas the ruin would hold the line almost till the ground and have a real late hooking fade. The throw I was able to separate them on was the forehand stand hyzer. The ruin held that line basically to the ground. So if you're trying to get one to hold that flex line, or not a flex line, hold the anhyzer and hold that line all the way down, that's your guy. But with the same angle, same speed on the zone, it got on that line for a long time and then faded out pretty dramatically, so it netted out even at the end. Almost dead straight from where I was standing, but had done a real nice S-curve through the air. So if you're looking for the more overstable disc, zone's your guy. It's a slightly more overstable, a tiny bit faster feeling. I think that wedge-shaped wing, even though it's about the same depth as the ruin and the same width, it's just a little bit quicker. I think due to the fact it's a pretty straight wing instead of the more concave wing of the ruin. Now, if you are looking for a zone, you can't find a zone, you need a zone-like disc, you got a tournament next week and you just can't find one, ruin's great. You can do almost all your zone things with it, as long as you're not looking for some hard flexes, in which case you should just buy a Stego anyway, because they're awesome. But the ruin's really good. For backhands, I actually liked it a touch better because you could just like throw it flat and straight and it would do a lot of normal approach things, whereas the zone's gonna buck hard left late. They're both really nice. I feel like if you are team harp, you might dig the ruin a little bit more, but the zone is fantastic. For my money, the Z Zone's probably just a little bit easier for someone with my style of game to use, but could I use a ruin? Absolutely. Great disc. So overall, I'll give the slight edge to the zone. And shout out to Boys in the Woods. They're a local group that runs leagues and tournaments. Dustin is the main guy. Did these really cool stamps for the Etowah Mud Swap tournament last weekend. Really nice. They did zones, undertakers, nukes, and forces, I think. Maybe challengers too. But really cool stamp. Get a look at that. And I keep loving the infinite disc stamps as well. The ruin's really pretty. It's got like the Parthenon or Colosseum or something. I guess Colosseum, not the Parthenon on there, and really pretty stuff as well. So two great discs. I'm sure that if you give them a shot with your game, you like one of them. Thanks for watching and have a good night.